Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the medium in the middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Join me every week. I release new episodes every Tuesday. Hello. Welcome to episode 88. I want to say this is a surprise episode, but it's not really a surprise. It's just a late episode, I guess you could say. I was away on Tuesday and I decided to be present and not work. So I didn't release an episode, but today I was like, I really want to release an episode. And I have a few pre-recorded. So I was like, I should release some content still because I like podcasting. I love what I do. But I'm very excited to share this week's episode with you all. A few weeks ago, I was having a thought and I was just thinking we all have good advice in our different areas of genius. We all have something that can help someone out so that we don't all have to experience the same things and learn the same lessons. You know, sometimes other people's experiences can really help us. So I put up a poll on Instagram and I asked a question: what is something you wish you knew at the beginning of your spiritual journey, like that you know now? And I got a lot of really good responses. A lot of them were repetitive, which is nice because I think it shows that we're all going through the same things. So I'm going to be sharing that episode with you today. I do have one exciting announcement for you guys. Medium in the Middle is now on YouTube. Woo! So it is just my episodes right now. So I'm uploading all of my episodes starting from episode 1. So if you're listening to this, this probably isn't for you, but I'm very excited because it's just another way that people can find me. I do want to eventually be making content for YouTube, but I always joke and say that honestly, the learning curve for audio was so hard that I just felt I didn't want to learn video, but now I feel like I can get into the swing of things. I'm going to try my best. So for right now, it is the podcast episodes, but content to come, you can follow at Medium in the Middle. I would love that. Link is down below, of course. And I am working on merch, guys. I haven't forgotten. It's just me, you know? So I'm working on merch. Hopefully in the next few weeks, it will be coming out. I highly underestimate how long things take, but it's coming. And the last thing I want to do is, of course, pull a card for you guys. And I think I'm going to pull from the Wild Offering Oracle card. I haven't pulled from this one in a few weeks, and I pulled the card Relationship. I call in the infinite power of love to take over this union in every way. May it now fully belong to the divine. Let it unfold in the perfect way for each of us. I needn't fear letting go of control. My needs are always abundantly met. Okay, I'm going to pull another one because it's me. Okay, and then I pulled Divine Timing. The divine brings things in the timing that we need. Nothing comes before we're prepared, nor leaves too early. May I always trust your perfect and holy timing. Ooh, interesting. Well, maybe someone has a relationship coming. Maybe me. I don't know. So those are the cards for this week. Just a little quick message. I like to throw it in there. And I'm going to be sharing this episode with you. I hope you enjoy it. If you are an iTunes user, I would love and appreciate a rating and a review. Of course, if you haven't already subscribed, please press subscribe. I release new episodes usually every Tuesday. But without further ado, enjoy today's episode. I'm excited to share this because I crowdsourced this information, you could say, and I'm excited to share what other people think because I also feel like when we understand that other people are going through the same thing or similar things, it really supports us in what we're going through. Especially with spirituality, there's a lot of gray, there's a lot of unknown, we feel so alone. I mean, I've talked about it on this podcast before where when I realized I could communicate with spirit, I was like, I'm the only person in the world who can talk to dead people. I'm so weird. I'm all alone. And it's funny now when we can laugh about it because obviously I'm not alone and I'm not the only person who can do this. But when you're going through all of these experiences, you definitely do feel alone and you don't know where to turn. You don't know where to reach out to. You don't know who can help you. So I asked on Instagram, what is something you wish you knew at the beginning of your spiritual journey? What is something that you wish someone would have told you because it would have really helped you out in your own personal development? So I'm going to read the answers that were submitted. So these are from Instagram, these are from people who follow me. So it's not all information just coming from me. And I think it's really important when we know that other people are experiencing this too, that we know that we are not alone. So I'm going to read the answers that were submitted. There were some really good ones and a lot of common ones. So I think that's also really helpful to know because a very common theme was know that you're not alone. I'll try to keep my commentary to a minimum on each of these, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're starting off strong here, and someone wrote in, first of all, everything and anything that you feel, see, or hear is normal. And they had a part 2 here. They said, but also figuring out what everything means is the next biggest challenge, and Google is your best friend and worst enemy. And I think this is a really good point because you definitely do not feel normal when all of these things are happening to you, when you're changing, when you're starting to notice things, when you're awakening, some people may say. So a really, really important thing is to remember that you're normal. This is happening to more than just you. And yes, Google can be your best friend and your enemy. And I definitely think that before you find your community, before you find your people, it's very hard to know what's going on, to have someone to consult with, to talk to someone, to discuss things with. So yeah, you're going to go to the internet. All right, next piece of advice. As a medium or channel, it's about going in and not out for information. Preach, my sister. I feel like this should be my motto because I'm constantly saying this. All your answers are within. You can't go looking elsewhere for it. You can't go looking for someone else for answers that you have or that you need to figure out. So I feel like this is an amazing piece of advice. It's about going in and not going out for information. Yes. It's okay. The next piece of information. It feels like a black hole for a while. Then there's a bright light, and then it's a black hole again. And this is, I wanted to say funny, but it's not funny because it's true. It is going in and going out, going in and going out. And sometimes we feel like when we do see the light, we're like in the light forever. But I really do believe that you have to remember that these things are going to shift and change. And it's not always light, but it's also not always darkness. Okay, next one. Your feelings and emotions are not your personality. You're allowed to feel feelings. Ooh, okay. I like this one because I feel like sometimes we do get overwhelmed with emotions or our current state of who we're being. And that can shift and change. And yeah, that isn't part of who you are. Your personality isn't attached to the emotions you're going through. That's a really good one. Okay, next one. If you feel scared or vulnerable, you can literally just ask a dead loved one to come be with you. Yes, and they will. So immediately, having that feeling of support is a game changer. I think this is, an amazing piece of advice. And I've talked about this before on the podcast. The number one question that people ask when they have readings done is my loved one okay? And they always are like, yes, of course I'm okay. But I think it's also important to know that they're always around you. They're always with you. And yes, you can ask for support. All you have to do is ask. You just have to ask. So very, very interesting. So this one's similar and ties into one that was said earlier, but I still think it's worth mentioning that awakenings happen over and over and over and over and over again until the end of time. And I love this because it's so true. I feel that we all think we're done and then it just restarts all over again. We think we've come so far and then it restarts all over again. And this is why I'm constantly saying, we are forever students. We are constantly learning. We are forever, going through things and experiencing new experiences. And that's all part of life. That's the journey of life. That's the experience. So it's really interesting because we're never truly finished. We're never truly done. And if you ever think you are, think again, because you're about to go through the washing machine once more. So totally true. It is a cycle that we go through basically until we die. All right, next one. I love this because I feel that a lot of people need to hear this. You're not crazy. You're just talking to the dead. And it's so true. I know at the beginning of the podcast, in the first few episodes, I was very confused when I started talking to spirit. It's like, what is happening to me? Someone take me to the loony hospital. Like, this isn't right. This isn't normal. I'm feeling things that aren't mine. I know things that aren't mine. What's going on? What's happening? And you really need to kind of accept that you're not crazy, that their spirit does exist, and there's like a lot of layers into that. There's a lot of processes into that. You really have to move through this. So I think this is a simple one, but a very good one. You're not crazy. You're just talking to the dead. Okay, next piece of information that we wish we would have known sooner. Okay, I love this too. We kind of just talked about it. Know that you're not alone. Many people have had interactions with spirit. Yes, yes, yes. Literally scream it from the rooftops. When you level up, ascending, it sucks. You see and have to work through the shadow to get to the rainbow. This is true, and this is again something I'm constantly talking about, is you have to do the work. You have to go through the darkness to get to the lightness. You have to work through the shadow work. You have to do things you don't want to do and work through emotions you don't want to work through and deal with things in your life you don't want to deal with. But it's true, it's the hard work, but you get rewarded for it on the other side. So very interesting, very interesting. I love these. Okay, someone else offered this piece of advice. There's always more depth and room for all your questions and curiosity. Yes, I feel like get curious in your life. Ask questions. Asking why will just take you deeper and deeper and deeper. It'll give you more and more and more awareness into yourself, into what you need to know, into things you need to discover. So yes, I love this. And also stay curious. Stay curious forever until the day you die. Keep asking questions. Okay, another very similar one. I love this. I love this theme. It's in the shadow work that you grow. This is so, so true because yes, if you ignore the shadow work, if you ignore the things you don't want to work on, if you ignore the hard things, if you ignore the not fancy fun things, you're gonna, I don't want to say be stuck, but you're not gonna move very far. So it's really interesting that a lot of people have this awareness that in the shadow work is where the growth is. In the hard work is where the growth is. In where you need to be developing is the hard work. So I love, love, love to see it. And also like, I know I attract those type of people who will be around me who know that it's always love and light. It might not always be light. There's always love. There's always lessons. But yeah, sometimes it is difficult. Absolutely. Ooh, okay, I really, really like this one. The universe sends you signs and tests. It's up to you to decipher. Can I get a slow clap? I don't want to clap in your ears, but the universe sends you signs and tests. It's up to you to decipher. I love this. I love this. I love this. Let me say it 5 more times. I love this. I love this. Okay, yes. Yes, yes to the yes, yes, all the yes. This is another thing. If you are constantly looking for signs or tests, it will help you out more than I can explain. The amount of times that people have come to me with a problem and my answer is, that sounds like a test. That sounds like they're seeing if you really want it. That sounds like a test. That sounds like a sign. That sounds like a push in the right direction. Honestly, view everything as a sign and a test, and I promise you it will support you in so many more ways than you could ever imagine. But it's so, so true. You will be tested. So I talked about this. My first example that pops into my head is the house. So I you guys know when I manifested my condo, which I get in a few months, I put in the offer, like within 24 hours they accepted, and then I had 2 weeks to figure out everything else you need to figure out with buying a house. And I remember it was just like roadblock after roadblock after roadblock that was coming up. And we literally went to the last day of closing to sort out everything. And I just kept thinking, why was it so easy, but now it's so hard? And I was like, oh, this is a test. Like, they're testing me to see how do I want this house. They're testing me to see how badly do I want it. They're testing me to see if I'll jump through these hoops to see it. They're testing me to see, will I try every single option that I have, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, E, all the way till I find the one that works. And when you realize that something is a test, you're like, yeah, I'll jump through these hoops. Yeah, I'll do all my options. Yeah, I'll keep going. And then when you get the result, it's like, I knew it. They were just seeing something. So this shows up a lot when you want something and it's either given to you or taken away from you. Or when you decide something, the universe will like test you. So I had a friend actually who went to go quit her job. And she had decided for like a year that she had to quit her job because she needed a new job. And she's like, this isn't for me anymore. I'm not in alignment. I've been thinking about this for a year. I finally just have to put in my resignation. Like, that's it. That's all. I need to put in my resignation. So she went to go put in her resignation. She sent the email. She like knew what day she was going to do it. She finally did it. And then she's like, I don't really check my emails from work because she's like, I was kind of trying to distance myself and get ready to leave. She's like, so then after I sent that email, I was just like checking other emails and I realized that they had laid me off. She said, so I could have gotten, payment or EI for staying at work. I said to her, this is just a test, right? I was like, you were quitting no matter what, right? And she was like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, what if you were quitting and they offered you a raise? Would you still quit? And she's like, well, yeah, it's not about the money. It's about that I can't be there anymore. And I was like, okay, so what's the difference if they were going to lay you off and you were going to get payment? You were still quitting. The decision was already made, but now they're testing you with something that you saw afterwards being like, oh my gosh, I could have stayed and got money. She's like, yeah, and I've done that before. Like, it's like a hook. It keeps me on because it's security. So I said, okay, so now that you know the test, go out and find your security elsewhere. And this is what the universe will do to see if we really want things. It's like your decision was already made. So now that we're just confirming your decision, it's like, oh, wait. Am I sure I want this? The universe is asking, are you sure you want this? So very, very good piece of advice. The universe sends you signs and tests. It's up to you to decipher. All right. Last two pieces of advice. It's so important to protect, center, and align. It brings more clarity to your practice. I think this is so true, especially with what we were just talking about. You can't do things that aren't aligned with you. You can't do things that you're not interested in. You can't do things that, we're stretching or reaching or we're not really in our center and our core and who we are. So if you just follow your intuition, if you follow what you're feeling you want to do, not what you think you need to do, it is going to really support you in, yes, bringing a lot more clarity into your practice. And your practice is whatever you're doing, whatever it is for you. Everybody's different. But yeah, I love that. Okay. Ooh, this is a really good one to end off on, and I didn't do this on purpose, so I'm happy this worked out this way. So the last piece of advice that I crowdsourced from you guys, so this is from, your neighbors, your friends, your everyday people. What do you wish someone told you sooner about spirituality? Last piece of advice. Spirituality won't save you. You must save yourself, and spirituality will help you. Oh, mic drop. How perfect. Spirituality won't save you. You must save yourself and spirituality will help you. I love this because it's not something you need to give up into the wind. You still need to do the work. You still need to go through things. You still need to work through things. You still need to do the thing. I think this is our theme today. Is it? Yes. So it's very interesting that when there's no magic wand that's going to be waved and make everything better. There's no answer book that's going to tell you what to do. There's no one outside of you that's going to give you the answers that you don't already have. There's nothing that's going to point you in the right direction that you already don't know where to go. So I love this, and I think it's a perfect way to end this little segment because it's so true. And I think these aren't like the hard things to hear because I feel like there's much harder things to hear, but Spirituality will not save you. You must save yourself, and your spirituality will help you. And spirituality is whatever it means for you, whatever it is for you, whatever the discovering of your own soul, your own process, however you will support yourself in that, whether it be, meditation, yoga, Reiki, mediumship, tarot, whatever it may be, that's all part of discovering who you are. That's all part of discovering your soul. That's all part of getting to know your intuition. So, love that. Love all that advice. Thank you, everyone, for submitting all of this beautiful advice. I think it's really important that, we use the information around us. I'm always saying, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to do this differently every time. We don't need to relearn lessons people have already learned. But if we have that support around us, if we can have that community, it really supports us in our growth. It really supports us in our own journey. And you don't need to do this alone. And you are not alone. I think we heard that enough today. You are not alone. There are others around you. So find your community, find your gang. Find those that support you so that you aren't feeling so alone in this journey, because yes, it's hard work, but we are all doing it. So very, very nice information. I really enjoyed that episode. Thank you if you submitted a piece of advice. I think they were all really wonderful and very helpful. If you are an iTunes user, I would love and appreciate a rating and a review. It really helps us out in the podcast world. So thank you so much. If you've left one, thank you so much for leaving one. I really, really appreciate it. And I read them all and smile. And if you want to stay in touch, at Medium in the Middle on all social medias. If you want an appointment with me, all links are down below in the show notes. And I can't wait to be in your ears next Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, press that subscribe button, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye.